Welcome to the Light and Shadow podcast. I am Grey, quantum informed spiritual mentor, founder of the Grey Ethereus Academy, and creator of the Alchemical Pattern-to-Healing Framework. I work at the threshold where insight alone stops working and real transformation begins. This is the space for the spiritually aware who are ready to go deeper than healing has taken them. Today's conversation is about what happens when you stop trying to wake people up and start examining the machinery itself, the internal patterns, the external systems, and the engineered beliefs that most people defend without ever questioning why. My guest is Neil, author of the Bullshit Machine book. Neil comes from a background in sales where he learned firsthand how easily human behavior can be influenced and engineered. His work explores the intersection of internal programming, beliefs, addictions, identity structures, and the external systems that reinforce them without most people ever noticing. What I appreciate about Neil's approach is his refusal to handhold. He's not here to save anyone or prove anything. He points things out. If you can see it, great. If not, maybe you'll see it one day. He works with people who are willing to change the patterns that got them where they are. Because without that willingness, everything reverts back to the original bullshit machine. This isn't a gentle spiritual guidance. This is direct examination of how we build our own prisons and why most people prefer to stay locked inside them. Before we start, I want to say this. Some of you listening may find this conversation confronting. Some of you may recognize patterns you have been running unconsciously. Some of you may resist what's being said. All of those responses are welcome here. This conversation isn't about comforting you. It is about showing you the gate is open, if you are willing to walk through it. Neil, welcome to the Light and Shadow.
Thank you, Grey. I appreciate you.
Neil, you describe something you call the bullshit machine.
Yes.
What is it at its core, psychologically, not metaphorically?
It is the collection of beliefs that kind of make us think we're a certain thing, right? So, so you know that voice is like, you know what? Let's have a cigarette, right? Let's have a drink. Let's do this bad behavior. It's looking for the easy way out. It's looking for the thing that's going to make you weaker, right? So it's the I'm not good enough. It's the negativity. It's the thing that tries to make the fake true. Like I used to drink 30 airplane bottles of vodka per day, right? I had to hold a belief that would make me want to do that. So that's a bullshit machine. When I realized that I was doing all of the things that I was doing to myself and nobody was doing it to me, I'm like, I'm bullshitting myself. It's like, so like all the things that mom told me I was and teachers told me I was, we internalize that and then we use it as a weapon against ourselves, our true selves.
Yeah.
Right. And that bullshit machine is afraid of the real you coming out because that means that when the real you comes out, then that's the death of the bullshit machine.
So it's the automated system of beliefs, defenses, and narratives we construct to avoid confronting what's actually real. It is self-sustaining because we identify with it.
Yes.
Neil, from your experience in sales, what did you learn about how easily human behavior can be influenced or engineered?
Well, so from the sales experience, we can be influenced so easily, but it doesn't start like at the car dealership. It doesn't start in the sales. The sales is taking advantage of what we learned in childhood, right? And
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
learned I'll call it compliance training, right? Where you
Mm.
get negatively reinforced, you get your stuff taken away and then given back to you as a reward. So you get like
Mm.
it's this negative thing where you think you need the system is selling you, right? To be who you are. Like somebody will come in and they'll identify with a vehicle, they'll identify with a car, and be like, "Oh, this car is me," and blah 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 blah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's not true at all. The car is there because of you. The car doesn't complete you. You give the car purpose. The car doesn't give you purpose.
Right.
And
Right.
and I noticed that in sales is like we think that all of these items like the Nike and the
All
Lexus
those
and all
brands.
the bullshit, we think that
Yeah.
like that gives me status. No.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Totally.
Like right, because it's not like anybody's earning this stuff. They're just going to make payments for it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Anybody can make payments, but anyway. So the nature of people just wanting things that we don't need. It's so easily manipulatable. Uh and
Mm-hmm.
I was sucked into it for years and years and years. I mean, I that's how I became an alcoholic. You know, you use you see
It
you're
all
living
starts
in a fake
somewhere.
world. Right, you're living in this fake world. You don't know how, like your body's like, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know how to
Mm.
look at my feelings yet. So I just keep
Yeah.
drinking.
Right. Right.
So,
So people basically do not make rational decisions. They make emotional ones and rationalize them afterwards. And if you understand the emotional triggers, you can engineer behavior predictably. And you talk about internal programming, beliefs, addictions, patterns. How do these structures actually form in a person?
well, so you have your childhood, right? You're with your parents, right? And
Mm-hmm.
our parents aren't aware that they're running their own program, right? They're not aware that the world has been indoctrinating them, and giving them their own programming. So they're doing the best that they can to give us the best information that they can give
Mm.
us. But
Yeah. Yeah.
what it is like what happens is over the past 100 years or whatever, people have been listening to like the looking outsourcing their truth. Let's just say you have this belief that vaccines are good, right? So you're building a foundation for your childhood. So your parents are really into vaccines. So you build your whole medical theory thought process that vaccines are good. So you have that foundation, that brick foundation. Those that the foundational bricks are the vaccines are good. Now everything you build on top of that, you're building on that wrong belief that the design of the creator, the design that's the source, needs to be altered by a human shot that's going to do something for somebody, right? And then you
100%.
build your medical beliefs on that. So
Mm-hmm.
when somebody later in life says something contrary to your belief, that
Mm.
foundation of the vaccines are good, that's a load bearing belief. So everything
Right.
you built on top of that, if you mess with that load bearing belief, the whole world comes crashing down on these people.
For
And then they're
sure.
like, "Well, my worldview," and then it's like the ego, it's like an ego death. They think they're gonna die, and it's because of that first wrong belief, right? It could
Yeah.
be whatever it is. The vaccine example is a good one because of the
Yeah.
whole COVID thing recently.
Yeah.
Because people were weird. They were wearing masks in their car. How many lies do you have to believe to drive in a car alone with a mask?
Mm-hmm.
You have to
It's a
not trust
limiting belief.
yourself. You have to not
Yeah.
trust
Those.
your air. You have to not trust that you exist.
Right.
Basically, you're like, I'm putting this body, and every these invisible viruses are trying to kill me. Uh, Let me wear a mask. you know. So I
Yeah.
had
It's
I
it's
had the
all
mask for
limiting.
a prop. I was doing a in one of my books. I did a book of COVID, right? One of the books I just released, I did it in a biblical style. So I did the book of COVID. I was making some videos. I was wearing the mask. It was hilarious. Anyway,
Wow. So
so
basically, what we're talking about here is limiting beliefs, it's repetition, reinforcements, and the need for identity stability. We build the prison one brick at a time, usually without even realizing that we're doing it.
so what'll happen is your beliefs will override your biological feedback. Okay, you believe something long enough, it will override your biological feedback. So a good example is body positivity, right? You say, "Oh, I'm 60 pounds overweight, and I feel the best I ever have," and you're trying to mentalize that, you're trying to cognize that in your brain, but the feedback of the McDonald's and the beer and the rest of the stuff that you're doing to yourself, it doesn't jive with your beliefs.
Yeah.
So when I first started writing my second book, I was calling it The Insanity of Belief, because the beliefs that we have no idea whether or not they're true. Almost all of our beliefs, at least these days with the phone, come from secondhand information. So let's just say you have this belief of vaccines are good, and then you get this other information from the external bullshit machine, right? Your government, your media, blah, 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 that helps build on top of that thing that vaccines are good. And again, if you hit that foundation, that whole world's going to come crashing down. That's why you see people protecting their beliefs so much, because they think it's them.
So when does identity become something we are expressing versus something we are unconsciously defending?
Well, remember when you were a little kid? Like, okay, so I had my dad is the strongest guy in the world, right? You take these stories that you hear from your parents,
Yeah.
right? And then you're building your worldview. So, like, I remember in school, I had some kids in class that we did like a thing where it was you brought your shield, right? Because families used to have a crest, right, 100 years ago and stuff like that, and some families still kind of have their crest and their shield and stuff. And then some of the kids were royalty. Like, I found out they were royalty, and so their worldview is that they were better because they had like a royalty in their blood. But your beliefs will start there. Your beliefs start in childhood, and it's based off of what well, it used to be based more off what our parents would teach us, but now it's what the rectangles teach us, because every
Yeah.
kid's got a rectangle in their hand.
Mm.
So now you got, instead of parents teaching kids beliefs, right? And this happened to us too, with the cartoons and whatnot. But instead of parents teaching beliefs, you have, the Disney Channel, you have YouTube. Yet those beliefs they don't necessarily jive with the world, or they jive with the truth.
So basically, when you are defending your identity, you stop expressing yourself. You protect, but is here you're protecting a construct,
You're
not
protecting
living
the story.
from not living from truth. And you say most people are only one or two insights away from seeing things differently. Okay.
Always.
What are those kinds of insights?
Like, if I went back to the vaccines thing, right? So repetition can do that too, right? If you let's just say all of your friends went and took that COVID shot, right? Or you had 10 friends, and then 9 of them have myocarditis now. That's going to help you soften that belief. Like, it's because it's the same repetition will help you do that too. But then there's also like those aha moments. I don't know exactly how they happen, when they happen, or whatever, but as soon as that aha moment happens, it's like, it's just something that will just shift.
Yeah, so basically it's not complex knowledge. It's simple clarity about how the machine operates. Once you see the pattern, you cannot unsee it.
Right. It'll be a removal of something more than an addition of something.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
understand, like, so you start off as this perfect little singular zygote. It has all the information, all 46 chromosomes that make the multi-trillion cell person that I'm talking to today, right? So that's you. And you are basically right now I'm the zygote unfolded and multiplied and this and that. You're diplomatic with that. Diplomatic means the exact same. So anything added after onto that, that's the true you. Okay. So anything added after that is false, like a birthday. You know what I'm saying? Like a birthday
Yeah.
is just, it's like you can't be your birthday. The birthday is like an infant record. Your name,
Yeah.
you can't be your name, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then most importantly is your beliefs. You got to understand it's like, so like just picture let's just say a 50-foot pipe, right? I'm almost 50. Because I don't go by my birthday. I do the fertilization. That's the truth of my origin. My origin here is fertilization. So if you think of the 50 foot long pipe, each foot represents a year. So
Okay.
everything added onto that cannot be me because I'm the pipe, right? My experience,
Okay.
my duration here is the pipe. So
Mm-hmm.
when you're recognizing anything outside of that is not true. It's a mental construct. It's even time, right? Like you were before anything. And
Mm-hmm.
when you have this core realization, meditation, there's a lot of stuff that you can do, but you have this core realization that the thing bothering you isn't you. You're the one keeping it there, right? And then this is that younger version of you, this version of you that didn't know how to work that thing out way back when it happened.
Mm-hmm.
uh that's the thing that needs to be looked at, because I am this one thing. I'm like flawless, I'm perfect, and then I have all these attachments added on to me. I have all these beliefs that I
Yeah.
think are me, right? If you ruin my vaccine belief, I'm gonna be I'm just gonna fall apart, right? If
Yeah.
you ruin my medical beliefs, if you ruin my belief about the moon landing or
Yeah.
or history, all these things that people identify with. When you're identifying with somebody with something, it can't be you, right? And like even books like the Bible, obviously books like the Bible talk about this.
Yeah.
That was Jesus's whole thing: is you are in this world, not of it. So
Yeah.
when you see yourself identifying with something, that's an idol, that's a sacred cow. That's how
You're
you know
forming
you're
an
in the bullshit
attachment
machine.
automatically.
You say it again.
You're forming an attachment automatically.
Right. And we don't, like, when we're not taught not to do this. So if you understand the basics, the foundation of what I am, and that I don't need anything on the outside of me, and you still choose it, that's great. Like that's at least you're making a cognitive decision.
So, what does real discernment look like in a moment of decision?
The truth underneath all the noise.
Okay.
So everybody has an internal compass.
Mm.
But marketing helps us not be able to use that. It helps muddy that. So just picture yourself as this perfect thing, and then all of your personality is on top of it, right? So you have this internal compass, but you want to be swayed because you want social approval. You don't want to get in trouble. You don't want to get an F on your paper. I just published a book for kids. It's called Cuba and the True North Compass,
Mm-hmm.
where he'll go through a situation like the first book. He's left alone in a room with a plate of cookies. So he's like, oh man, nobody will miss one. And he goes to go take one, and then his internal compass shows up and says, you know what? Mom said not to touch that. I don't want to do it this way, and he doesn't do it, right? And he feels this sense of foundation. He feels this sense of of solidity, like man, this is good. And the series takes him through all these choices where he has to use his internal compass and stay true north through all the gaslighting and waves and all that stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
it's about knowing what is true in the moment, and then you can make your decision from there. You can make your choice from an actual foundation of something that will benefit you instead of, benefiting the thing that's trying to sell it to you.
Right. So basically, can't we also say that the discernment is basically pausing, and it's which is the space between the trigger and the reaction where you can actually choose instead of being run by the pattern. So just
Right.
pause
So
for
yeah.
discernment.
So what'll happen is, so okay, you'll be faced with a decision, and then there will be a chemical reaction in your body, right? It could be
Mm,
cortisol, it could be adrenaline, it could be like whatever it is. Your emotions have a chemical form.
mm-hmm.
So when you're faced with a decision, most people are reacting to that thing in their body, right? They tell you trust your gut. Different parts of your body will light up, and then that's
Yeah,
when you can notice it.
for
All of a
sure.
sudden you feel fear,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you're
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, right? Maybe it was just something that jumped out of nowhere, but there's a gap there. There's like, you could either take that feeling of fear and then just go nuts with it, or you could take it and discern it,
Mm,
right? You take
mm,
one extra split second, and you discern it,
yeah.
and you're like, okay, my body feels something. Is it true
Yes. Always listen to
externally?
your body.
Right, but now you can take it a step further. Is it true externally? Right? Am I actually in a dangerous situation? Am I? 9 times out of 10, it's no. Because
Then
what it's
then how can someone tell the difference between a genuine realization and just another layer of mental narrative? It's also the same, the body.
well, what's happening is that your body is reacting to what it knows. So you
Mm-hmm.
made that reaction in childhood, that fear, right? That's just something that shows up, that's there to protect you. Now, the more you catch it, the more you realize that fear went off. Just see how many times it goes off, and it's a false alarm. It's going to be like 99.9%.
Mm,
So when you catch that fear, and it's good. It's easier to catch them in situations where you're not in the thick of things, right?
mm.
So like if something scares you while you're driving, right, but it was a false alarm, instead of being like, oh man, I almost died today, right? And
The
then people will go
reaction.
tell that story about how they almost died today, and they'll tell it for 2 weeks, and all this. That's You're
Yes.
programming your nervous system. So
Yes.
if something happens in the car and you're driving, you're like, whew, whew, that was a false alarm, right? And you go, because I'm
Exactly.
safe. Here's reality. I'm safe right now. I was scared for 1 second,
Yes.
but I'm
Yes.
safe right now.
Right.
And breathe through it. Breathe to the thing. It's usually right here in your gut.
Mm. So
you know?
basically, real realization changes behavior. Mental narrative just gives you a new story to tell yourself. The
You
evidence
got it.
is in what you do, not what you think you understand.
Right.
So, Neil, yeah, Neil, you have moved away from wanting to wake people up, right? What
Yes.
changed in your perspective?
Because people are comfortable in their prisons. So what I described to you earlier with
Mm,
and because this helps me understand the world. My A lot of my reason for doing this is to understand the world, myself and the world. So
mm,
it helps me understand people when I know somebody is being completely illogical and irrational and won't hear the actual true thing, then I'm not looking to remove those bricks from their foundation.
mm,
I think it's unhealthier to crash somebody's worldview, or at least try and do that. That's what creates this friction between people.
mm-hmm,
I don't
mm-hmm.
want friction between people. I want to understand you. I want to take the responsibility of understanding what the person talking to me can't possibly understand with the worldview that
100%.
they have. Yeah, they're not stupid, they're not dumb or anything like that. It's just it's just the house built on these beliefs that now you think about the Tower of Babel. It's just built on these lies, and then it's going to fall
Mm.
down. So
So
I
basically,
don't.
you realize that people choose their own prisons, and trying to force them out just makes you their jailer in a different form. And so basically, what you're trying to say, freedom has to be chosen.
Yes, and people will. You can't convince somebody that they're wrong. You can, but like
Yeah.
people will mirror you before they'll listen to you. Like, oh, why is
Mm-hmm.
Neil gardening? Why is Neil growing his own food? Why does Neil have 25 chickens? Why, hey Neil, what do you do? So when people start asking questions, people will engage with you when you're taking responsibility for yourself, right? You
Yeah.
have dozens and dozens of eggs every week, and like people are like, well, why are you looking so healthy? What are you doing? What's this and what's that and blah blah. So I don't need to go knock on your door and wake you up. I don't need to go to the bar and slap the drink out of your hand, right? That's up to you. When
Mm-hmm.
you start feeling it, you will seek the knowledge, it,
Yeah, because
as it as
at
it
the end
comes
of
to you.
the day, it's everyone's own journey, and once they're ready, then they're ready. Neil, if people build their own prisons, where does compassion fit into that understanding?
So what the compassion looks like then, instead of like actual real compassion, they're gonna send 70 cents a day to Sally Struthers. They're
Mm-hmm.
gonna send some toys to some kids in the Ukraine that'll probably never get there. They're gonna do some sort of charitable event that is
Mm,
actually doing nothing,
mm,
and then feel like that's the compassion. It's a way for the system to help people feel like they're being compassionate. What happens is that compassion, that real compassion, gets lost
mm, mm.
because you're on this, you've outsourced your authority, so you don't know what to be compassionate about. So now you're
Yeah.
crying at a commercial about dogs that Sarah McLachlan sing in the arms of an angel, and you're like, oh, the dog.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's inside of you, and you need to get that out, but that's not what's real in your life.
And how do you balance personal responsibility without slipping into indifference towards others?
Presence, because that great question.
Mm,
Thank you.
yeah.
Because so one of the things that I have fallen into is like, I'm like, oh man, everybody's stupid, and I don't want to fall into that. So, uh, me being able to understand these things, it keeps me from having that negative worldview, where
Mm,
it's where I see the programming. Like, this is going to sound a little condescending, but it's not, if in my framework.
okay.
I see people as children, right?
Okay.
Because that's the thing that is so afraid of everything.
Mm,
That's the thing that's gone unchecked. Like, if you think of what the bullshit machine is, that's that 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 uh that line of belief that has just never been checked against, and you just think that that's you. So and that those are what we learned in childhood.
mm, mm, mm.
So when
Yeah.
people are making these impulse decisions, it's infantile,
Mm,
and the world is definitely trying to keep you an infant, because when you're an infant, then you don't have your own power, because when you
yeah.
have your own power, it's not profitable.
Yeah,
you
and
know
actually, it makes sense what you just said. There's a research I read. They were saying that people in adulthood, once they get scared, once something triggering or something traumatizing, they do feel the same feeling at the age they felt it as a kid, as a 5-year-old, as a 7-year-old. It did not change. It was the same feeling as then. So it makes a lot of sense to look at people with their limiting belief as kids who did not heal, did not, there was no way of guidance to get out of there, to get out of those feelings, of those experiences.
Right.
And you're being judgment free at that point, because everybody go through these moments in their life, go through those experiences in one way or another.
Right. Yeah, I've been through with the amount of stuff that I have I've done to myself, like all the drinking and the
Mm,
drugs and the
mm,
pharmaceuticals and just the guy behavior, the stuff that I was influenced that influenced me as a kid, to go do and that was not beneficial to me. I
mm,
understand that I went through that, and I have a
yeah,
lot of grace when somebody's going through something. If somebody makes mistakes, because again, I don't want to call the world stupid. I don't think people are stupid. I think people are super powerful, and I mean, this experience of life is like insanely cool. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? When you
mm,
think about the
yeah,
technology that you're in, I can see, like, I what's animating me. I can do pull-ups and push-ups, and I can build stuff. Like, this is really cool, and it gets manipulated into, well, you got to go to school, you got to do this, and you got to do that, and for the social structure. And right now there's way too many people trying to be the social structure rather than themselves.
yeah. And you explore how external systems reinforce internal patterns. How do these systems basically shape the behavior without even people realizing it?
You've seen the Truman Show?
Yes, I
Okay,
did.
people accept the world that they were given.
Good job.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
there's so there. I think movies are more true than the news. Like,
I do believe so too. The system works by making the invisible visible only to those who benefit from it and only to those who believe in it. Everyone else operates inside it without ever questioning the frame. And that's sad. So, how do you examine systems critically without falling into blame or victim consciousness?
well, that's your internal responsibility.
Mm,
Um, that's where conscious choice actually enters. When you don't need the world, right? We're all interdependent, by the way.
yes.
Okay, I can't make my car. I can't make my computer. I can't make my phone. I'm interdependent on these things, but I'm not dependent on
Mm,
these things.
mm,
When I take responsibility for the things that I can do, right? Growing my own food. Like, I have a 95 F-150, right? I
mm,
can work on that thing until it reaches 2 million miles,
mm,
right? I'm
mm,
taking that responsibility away from the planned obsolescence, right? Because
mm,
they're making cars now that they're only gonna last 100,000 miles. So the chickens taking responsibility, growing food, blah blah blah, all these things. That's taking responsibility, and that's how you don't get mad at the world.
mm,
Because I
mm,
know that there was a time where I expected stuff from the world. And when you expect stuff from the world, that's not interdependence, that's dependence, and you're not
mm.
free. The moment
Yeah.
you expect, and I'm not saying you can't get stuff from the world, but the moment you expect something that
Mm,
requires someone else's labor or someone else's materials, and you think that you should just have it, that's when you lose your freedom, right? And then
mm,
that's when you start outsourcing your thought, right? Like, oh, well, I expect this should happen, so I'll give up this freedom for this benefit, and I'll give up this discernment for this privilege,
mm.
and you just start building these things, and next thing you know, you're just this puppet on a string, and it's so it can be really difficult to see. Um, like, somebody's gonna hear what I just said and be like, "That dude's crazy."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm not. It's like, that's just how it is. You just
Mm,
there's a certain awareness, and you have to seek it though.
mm. So,
It's
so
not
basically, you see the system without making it the reason you cannot act. You are in it, you understand how it works, but you don't use it as an excuse for powerlessness.
right. So in order to use the system properly, you have to understand what you are. You can upgrade yourself, constantly upgrade yourself, and then realize what I need and what I want, needs and wants, needs and wants.
I totally agree with what you're saying. But you've mentioned here the difference between producing something real versus operating in constructed environments. What does real mean to you?
Real means something that that comes that I've created, something that comes from me.
Mm-hmm.
Real is food I can grow. Okay,
Okay.
real is this conversation where
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to be a character to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just being my authentic self. I'm trying to give the best information that I can.
Mm.
That's real. Like now, when I was in the car business, I was saying anything I could to get to a goal.
Yeah.
You know, so
Mm.
real is touching the tree. Real is breathing the air. Real is seeing the sky. Real is the foundation of what's actually here. Now, you like because when you really break it down,
Mm.
everything is a mental construct. And without the dogma, right? You could even use
Yeah.
God and Satan, right? So
Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
Satan as man's world, and
Mm.
then nature is God's world, right?
Yeah.
And again, take the
Yeah.
dogma out, just use the name, right? So
Yeah.
and it's okay to use the satanic system
Mm.
as long as you have that foundation of nature, right?
Mm. Mm.
That natural God's world, nature and nature's God.
Yeah.
Um, that's where the discernment comes from. It's we've integrated these systems, you know, the man made and then the source made
Yeah.
system, and it's
Mm.
confused people.
Yeah.
You kind of have to separate church and state here.
For sure. So real here is what stands independent of narrative, what exists regardless of whether you believe in it or not. The rest is constructed meaning.
Right. So, though a great way to explain this, okay, in the Bible, Jesus says, "I am before Abraham was."
Yeah.
Right. Do you know how that? Do you know what he means by that? How that's possible?
In my point of view, it's a soul, it's the eternal soul. So it exists already, it's infinite. So the name already is there before everything else is there. So the soul is there before everything is there. So that's why probably the meaning, unless you have another definition, please do share.
Yeah, that's a very good perspective, by the way. So when I was talking about everything starts at fertilization, right?
Yeah.
At the
Mm.
single cell zygote. They talk about evolution. Now, I don't believe the monkey man, blah, 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 evolution, but we do evolve, right? That's the single cell, two cells, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, and then into the multi trillion person
Yeah.
that I'm talking to.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the beginning of life. The fertilization is the beginning of life. All your information is in one singularity, right? Your parents did the Big Bang, right? They lay together, they did the Big Bang, and then
Yeah.
you evolve from this one singularity. Okay, so now that's the beginning of life. Everything that comes, you exist, that you don't have any beliefs in the womb, you don't have any beliefs in the zygote. Everything that comes after that is added. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so when Jesus said, "I am before Abraham was," he's saying, he goes, "I didn't even learn about Abraham until I was 4 or 5 years old, right? Until you could actually cognize this stuff and
Mm-hmm.
you could actually put it into your consciousness."
Mm-hmm.
Like me personally, I didn't know about Jesus till I was in kindergarten, probably, right?
Mm-hmm.
I am before Jesus was. I existed before time even. You know,
Yeah.
when I'd ask Mom, when are we going to the Chuck E. Cheese? Like, oh, we're gonna leave in 5 minutes. Saying
Yeah.
because I existed before time.
That is the belief of what you existed. So that the time frame between you being born and the time you knew about something does have to be anything else, not only Jesus. Well,
Right.
basically that's dependent on that belief that you did not know about it. But your soul existed. We're circling back to the same perspective. It's just soul existed always. So why do you think, Neil, so many people feel disconnected from their own lives?
It's the way the world is. It's the programming.
Okay.
One of the things I think is the birthday. I've been working on over the last few years or so. I just the truth. I just want the mechanics. I just want the basics
Mm,
of the truth. And the more I realize that I was created,
mm,
there was nothing like me before me, and there will be nothing like me after me.
mm,
Right? And those 9 months in the womb is part of my due process, part of my evolution, part of my development. Uh, when I realized that, and I am before my birthday, like the birthday is secondhand information on a fictional calendar. So I'm the author then.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
And
all of these things that
yeah,
people told me I was, I'm not. I am the
mm,
author. And when you really get it, and meditation is great for this. There's a lot of different things that's great for this. But when you really get it, you're
yeah,
like, oh, okay. So now you're the puppet master. You're the
yeah.
guy who can control the strings, because you understand where you came from.
Yeah, and the reason people feel disconnected is because they're living in the construct instead of the reality. They're basically operating inside someone else's frame, following scripts they didn't write, defending identities they don't even want. And let's
Great way
back
to
to
say
the
that, by the way.
thank you. Neo, my last question to you. If someone begins to see through their conditioning,
Yes.
what is the first grounded step toward actually living differently?
Presence.
Presence,
Presence.
beautiful.
Yeah. There is one true statement. And I talk about this in my book, The Bullshit Machine too.
Mm,
The one true statement that we have while we're here is I am. Okay.
okay. Yeah.
Anything except for here, you could say I am here. Anything after that is not actually you. Okay. So if I say I am Neil,
Mm,
where did Neil come from? Neil wasn't part of the zygote. Neil wasn't part of the 46 chromosomes. Neil was something that somebody used to identify me,
mm-hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
I am that statement of
That's
presence.
present.
When you're
Yeah.
when you're off in bullshit machine land, you
Mm,
take a breath. You say, I am here.
mm,
Right? Because the bullshit machine wants to take you off to there, and wants to take you off to there, and wants to take you off into the wizard's idea. Ooh, buy this new car, zero down, only, like all of that.
yeah.
Like, okay, I like that car, but I am here, right? My little bullshit
Yeah.
machine wanted to go after that. That statement of presence is the way to absolutely do this duration, right? I call our lives the duration, right? Because it's just one thing. When Jesus says, I'm not a big Bible guy, by the way, but I take these things
Okay.
that are so true, that are undeniably true, and
Mm,
I use them as examples because they are powerful to people. So when I
mm,
say Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, the light. I am the way to the Father. I and my
okay.
Father are one. So he says, I am. He's saying that's a statement of presence.
Mm,
He's
mm,
saying, my presence is the way, the truth, the life. My presence, I am. It's a statement of presence. I am. My presence is the way to the Father. So that's what he's talking about. Is like you're staying present is like the most important thing that you can do. So you're not off in the weeds. You're not off in bullshit machine land.
yeah.
Getting, making bad decisions.
Yeah. I can add a movie to the limiting belief and probably to this concept of the bullshit machine that you created. This is the movie called Tomorrowland, because at the end of the movie it shows how people are believing the scenarios, and they construct those belief system around their life based on those belief systems.
Yeah.
So basically, to sum it up, is not only presence, you just stop performing, you stop defending, you start acting from what's real instead of what protects the identity, and be willing to lose everything you thought you were.
Think about it this way. The truth has no enemies. The
Mhm.
truth has no opposition. Nobody argues the truth. They argue their side of the story. If you're in an argument, you're in this thing where it's like, I'm arguing my side, they're arguing their side, blah 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 blah. You can stop and be like, okay, the truth has no enemies. I know that. And that's a way better place to start from than I'm right, they're wrong.
Correct. Neil, this has been one of the most direct conversation I've had about personal responsibility and the machinery of self-deception. To everyone listening, I want to leave you with something Neil said, that people build their own prisons. And if they don't want to be free, it is not your job to show them the gate is open. You can point it out, but you cannot make someone walk through it. If this conversation brought something up for you, if you are recognizing patterns you have been running, or if you're ready to stop defending an identity that was never really yours, you can learn more about my private coaching and mentorship at the link in the show notes below. And you can find Neil's book, The Bullshit Machine, and all his other books available at thebullshitmachine.net. He offers it freely so you can understand what he's about before deciding whether to work with him. And he only works with people willing to change the patterns that got them there in the first place. If this conversation simply left you defensive or resistant, pay attention to that. That is the bullshit machine doing what it does, protecting itself. This is the Light and Shadow Podcast. Thank you for listening with an open mind and a discerning heart. Until next time.